So let's take a look at Mr. Hogan swinging various clubs in slow motion. Your immediate reaction is, let me see that one again. But there's no need to back the tape up, as many more swings will be repeated in slow motion several times for your convenience and study. Then when you go out to the driving range, you can refresh your memory as to what you need to work on to improve your own swing. He starts his warm-up with a 9-iron, and at first glance, you may think that he's hitting the same club over and over again in this series. But you'll notice that his caddy is moving further and further away with each shot. His swing is so well grooved that they all look almost identical. The subtleties are hard to spot, but the initial direction of the shot reveals the changes he made from one type of shot to another, the fade, the draw, or the straight shot. So he starts his routine with short irons, and then he increases the length of his swing as he moves to the lower numbered clubs. Let's see how he sets up for these short iron shots. The feet, hips, shoulders are parallel to the line of flight of the ball. A better look at his stance is seen from the front view of the mid-iron shot. The camera angle is slightly ahead of Hogan, so don't let that throw you. His right knee is positioned inward, bracing the swing from swaying the hips to the right, but allowing the upper body to turn freely on the backswing. The right knee stays put, but does flex somewhat on the backswing to accommodate a sitting position at the top of his swing. His weight transfer is accomplished to the right side by turning the upper body, not shifting or swaying the weight of his body. The shoulders follow a tilt, remaining on plane, and go back all together with the hands, arms, and shoulders turning. Bracing the swing with the right knee inwardly and not compensating with the left knee would cause both the hips and shoulders to open slightly towards the target. So the left knee is braced somewhat inward, which establishes balance. It goes inward toward the ball to bring the hips and shoulders back into proper alignment and square to the target line. Hogan's shoulders are always squared to the target, regardless of the position of his feet. It feels awkward unless a sitting position is maintained with your weight on your heels, and your weight remains there throughout the swing. His spine angle doesn't change either during any of his swings. Hogan follows the same routine for his setup for each and every shot. You will note how he concentrates on the positioning of the club head directly over the center of the ball. That's one of his little secrets that accounts for his ability of precisely striking the ball swing after swing. Note that the left arm is straight and not stiff at address, with the cup of the elbow facing away from the target. The right arm is bent and relaxed in a slight cavity of the right side as his hands are centered. To get set up, he moves his left foot towards the target so that the ball is just inside his left foot. Then he positions his right foot. The camera is slightly ahead of Hogan, which makes it look as though he's playing the ball from the middle of his stance. As he hits the longer clubs, he widens his stance and foot position. With the driver, he positions his left foot, and then he moves his right foot backward from the target line and moves the toe of his right foot to the right, away from the target. This accommodates a wider and fuller hip turn to generate more power. This does not alter the position of his knees, hips, or shoulders, as they remain parallel to the target line at address. This athletic stance gives him both balance and power from his legs, and a solid base to swing at the ball with everything he's got. His knees are slightly bent to allow for a sitting position, and his weight is on his heels. Front view shows the upper body tilted slightly to the right, as his right hand grips the club lower than his left hand, thus tilting his shoulders. He stands quite erect to the ball, and his arched wrists and his club handle are fairly close into his body without an attempt to reach for the ball. His arms are glued to the side of his chest, not in front of his chest. And as he gets set up for the shot, he first holds the club precisely over the center of the ball. Then he waggles the club above the ball. This motion sets a stage for the path that the club head will take on both the backswing and the downswing. It is the exact path that he takes the club away on his backswing. A careful look reveals that the backswing of his waggle is slightly higher than the downswing segment as it returns to the ball. This is clearly seen during his swing as the path of the club head reveals. After he waggles the club to preview the shot, he places the club directly over the center of the ball and then lowers it behind the ball. Then his backswing begins. The toe of the club is pointed upward as it's waggled back, not hooded, which would de-loft the angle of the club face. It's not manipulated by his hands, but controlled by the forearms. That sets the proper path of the swing into the ball or to sweep the ball off the tee with a driver. It also programs the angle of approach to the ball. This produces a more consistent shot, both distance-wise and height-wise. On the backswing, following the waggle, the hands, club, arms, and shoulders all move away together from the target along the line that the waggle previewed. His arms and hands go straight back, and the club head remains close to the ground. You will note that most pros don't bother to waggle the club prior to their taking a backswing, but this is an important insight into Hogan's ability to maneuver his shots. It's the number of little things that he paid attention to that set him apart from all the other pros. Just a little something here and a little something there, but boy, they make a difference. You will be able to clearly see the club moving into the ball on the path that the waggle established in his pre-shot routine. The arc of his swing is to the inside of the target line on the backswing and down from the inside of the target line back to the ball. Then the arc moves back inside on the follow-through. On the backswing, all the things, hands, club handle, and shoulders, go straight back along the waggle line together until the club face is vertical about waist high, and then it hinges upward. The left arm rotates clockwise during his backswing. Both his arms go upward, close together to the top, with the right elbow pointed downward, not backward, but towards the ground. His club shaft points straight up on plane when it reaches shoulder height of his right shoulder. His left arm is fully extended and both arms are away from his body. The hands go just a bit further up at the top of his backswing and automatically cock the wrists. Note his wrist position with his right hand covering his left thumb at the top of his backswing. At this point of the swing, the club control is perfect and solid. The club angle at shoulder height shows that it's on plane between his right shoulder and right elbow as he goes to the top of the backswing. His left shoulder tilts downward on his backswing and does not follow a horizontal plane. This move causes somewhat of a cavity in the right side at the waist. The hips are restricted to turning only as the shoulders pull his hips around. The cup at the elbow of his left arm is facing his right shoulder when the arms reach hip high and continue to point to the right shoulder through the backswing. His left arm covers his chin at the top of the backswing but does not go under it. The front view shows that the club shaft is only about 10 o'clock with the mid-iron. That's the position where his full shoulder turn takes it. Hogan's legs are fairly inactive during his backswing. They bend at the knees as he swings back into a sitting position. That position is maintained as the downswing begins. As the legs and hips move together towards the target, both knees are still bent at impact. The left leg straightens out only after impact as the follow-through finishes and he stands tall on his left side. His left arm is absolutely straight at the top of his backswing, and his right arm is absolutely straight at the top of his follow-through. He swings with so much power that it looks like he's trying to hold on to the club to keep it from flying out of his hands towards the target. It's obvious that Hogan puts everything he's got into his tee shots, and the power generated on his downswing is so great that the follow-through to a high finish is automatic. His balance throughout the swing is amazing. Only someone with exceptional athletic abilities could swing like this. Both feet roll toward the target during the downswing. The weight is definitely on his heels. As the left foot rolls to the outside of that foot towards the target and the right foot is pulled up on its toe. On his downswing, the lower body, hips and legs move toward the target before the downswing begins. The arms stay put at the top of the swing until the weight shift has begun. His knees stay together and drive towards the target as his hands drop in close to his knees, and then he hits with his arms and with his shoulders. The arms stay together with the cup of the left elbow pointing away from the target just prior to impact. When the arms get down to about the right knee, the path that the waggle established takes over as he hits through the ball. His upper body hits through with his right shoulder going downward as the left hip moves towards the rear. The weight is transferred to the left side of both feet as he swings. His forearms, not his hands or his wrists, roll over after impact and remain close together. It's a lot easier to release the club at impact and let the forearms rotate when the arms start in a position that's close to the body at address. His hips turn and do not spin around. There's a small amount of hip movement at the start of his downswing as his shoulders and arms stay put and are not allowed to move outward over the plane. This guarantees that the arms and the club drop down close to the right knee before impact and move outward over the target line. Then the hip turn clears the way for his arms to swing through. His arms swing down before his body turns, producing tremendous club head speed along with a fast swinging motion. The right elbow moves inward towards the ball as the downswing begins. And as the right arm begins to straighten down towards the right knee, this one movement keeps the hands from hitting from the top. This movement also allows the arms to swing down into the hitting area and retain the wrist cup. Hogan swings with his whole body, keeping his shoulders back. It's a body swing, not an arm swing, or just one part taking charge over the body, but a synchronized motion of his entire body that collectively produces the power. Many people want to know if Hogan really supinates his left wrist at impact. His book shows that it does, and he considers it as one of the fundamentals of the golf swing. His left wrist is bent towards the target at impact. This is clearly seen in many swings. At this point, the toe of the club passes the heel of the club, and his right hand and arm deliver a powerful blow right on through to the finish of the swing. The wedge shot and short pitch shots are quite similar. On both shots, he allows his shoulders to move fully and freely on the backswing. His feet are close together and his hands are centered over the ball. His left wrist leads the way down. This can also be clearly seen in the sand shot sequence. His shots were always crisp, regardless of the length of the swing. It all appeared to be so effortless. His putting stance shows that his eyes are directly over the ball. The footage also shows his uncanny ability to knock the ball close to the hole time after time. His intense concentration made him a great, consistent putter of the ball. He certainly wasn't lacking in any respect of his game, but his shot making made him outstanding. His relentless practice and desire for perfection was unequaled by any of the other pros. The slow motion sequences on this tape will allow you to see Mr. Hogan's swing from different angles. As you practice your own swing in a mirror, you can check your movements against his movements and see if they're correct. The swing is repeated several times to allow you to make adjustments without having to rewind and replay the tape. This learning process takes time as your muscles adjust to the correct movements. But now you're on the right track in your own pursuit of a more perfect swing. Soon you'll be hitting the ball straight and keeping it on the short grass. And now, it's all up to you. I certainly hope that this tape will improve your game as much as it has mine.